Enrico De Santis is a man who has run out of road. By midnight, he owes $2 million to an Albanian trafficking ring, money he lost at the card tables moment ago. With his assets seized and his bank accounts empty, he offers the only collateral the Albanians will accept, his daughter, Livia. Before the debt is collected, Viero Calvi, the butcher of Brooklyn, intervenes. He buys the contract out from under the traffickers, cornering Enrico in his office. He strikes a silver Zippo and holds it to the ledger, watching the record of Enrico's greed turn to ash. The debt isn't forgiven, it has simply changed hands. Viero dictates the new terms. He absorbs the $2 million, and in exchange, Livia leaves tonight as his personal property. It is the ultimate nightmare of the genre. A young woman is traded from one set of criminals to a much more powerful predator, becoming a mere line item in a high-stakes mafia transaction. Livia is taken to the Stronghold, a fortified Long Island estate where the rules are absolute. She is a prisoner in a house of stone, facing a man who treats her with the cold, transactional indifference of a banker. Yet, Viero's behavior begins to deviate from his brutal reputation. He discovers Livia cleaning his late mother's abandoned greenhouse, a space untouched for 15 years. And instead of stopping her, he provides the necessary resources to bring the dead garden back to life. The tension breaks at a Camorra charity gala. When a rival mobster attempts to humiliate Livia, Viero risks a full-scale war between the city's 5 families. He publicly and violently defends her, treating the asset with a lethal reverence that shocks the criminal underworld. This creates a paradox. If Livia is truly just a piece of collateral meant to settle a gambling debt, why is Viero Calvi willing to burn down his entire empire to protect her? The transaction's reality is exposed during an Albanian ambush. A hail of bullets hits the car, and an SUV rams them into a ravine. Viero unbuckles his seatbelt and throws his massive frame across the center console. He covers her body with his own, taking the full force of the impact to ensure she remains untouched. Trapped in a snow-buried cabin, bleeding from his injuries, Viero reveals the debt's true origin. He didn't take Livia to collect on her father's failures. He took her to fulfill a promise spanning nearly 2 decades. This timeline charts a series of anonymous interventions spanning 15 years. As a young soldier, Viero pulled Livia's mother from a fatal wreck. With her final breath, she begged him to protect her daughter from Enrico's rot. Since that night, Viero became her invisible shadow, quietly paying the utility bills Enrico ignored, and stationing plainclothes guards outside of her schools. When Enrico finally signed a trafficking contract with the Albanians, Viero liquidated $2 million of his own assets to buy the deed to her life. He purposely played the butcher, acting with calculated cruelty, so she would hate him enough to take his money and flee to a safe life in Europe once the threat was completely neutralized. Every cold word and restrictive rule was a deliberate strategy to keep her heart at a distance, while he systematically dismantled the dangers surrounding her. Believing she is hearing a plan for her own execution, Livia escapes the compound. She struggles through a brutal, blinding blizzard to reach the De Santis manor, desperate to warn her father that Viero's men are coming to end the lineage. Livia arrives only to find that the monster she feared was actually her shield, and the father she loved is her executioner. Enrico immediately calls the Albanians, selling Livia to them again for a $50,000 cash payout. Viero breaches the house minutes later, slaughtering the traffickers, but Enrico takes Livia hostage at gunpoint. Viero does the unthinkable for a man of his status. He drops his weapon and kneels, offering his own life in exchange for her release. Without hesitation, Enrico pulls the trigger, shooting Viero in the chest before Viero's backup team can neutralize him. The 2 men in Livia's life are finally revealed by their actions. Her biological father sold her for a briefcase of cash, while the man she called her captor accepted a 100% chance of death just to keep her safe. Viero survives the shooting, but even in a hospital bed, he finalizes his noble exit strategy. He views himself as a man with too much blood on his hands to ever be a part of her world. He presents Livia with an envelope containing the deed to her house, a bank account with $5 million, and a plane ticket to Florence. He tells her the debt is cleared, and she is finally free of the Camorra. Livia shreds the documents and the ticket. She rejects the safety of a life without him, choosing instead to slide his silver signet ring onto her thumb. By claiming the wolf crest, she binds her fate to his. This is a story where the traditional roles are discarded. Livia realizes that the only cage she was ever in was the one built by her father's greed, and the butcher was the one who spent 15 years and a king's ransom to break the lock. She chooses the covenant, stepping into the sun as the queen of the stronghold.